They're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
Hey, it's Jamie from Green Drop Lawn Care. They may be teeny tiny, but chinch bugs can completely devastate your lawn or garden. If you have yellowing grass that doesn't improve with watering, you may already have them. At Green Drop, we'll identify them, treat them, and help you recover from the damage before it's out of control. Stop chinch bugs cold with Green Drop Lawn Care, Canada's lawn expert since 1979. Find out more and get started at greendrop.com.
Wendy's 99-cent Frosty is back, and Frosty farmers couldn't be happier. Made with Canadian dairy, they grow up cool, creamy, and mighty thick. It's farm to Frosty. Get a small 99-cent Frosty until August 2nd at participating Wendy's. Texas Extra.
Ends Wednesday at Pet Value. Save $8 on select Performatrin ultra-limited ingredients and grain-free dry dog food, and 15% on select Royal Canin dry cat food. Shop your local Pet Value and petvalue.ca.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Welcome to the Lowdown. Today's show, Mike Babcock is cleared to coach the Edmonton Oilers. Now, the offseason begins. Who will benefit most from this Oilers roster when Mike Babcock is coaching? We're going to talk about it, and who won't benefit. We'll talk about that too. The Lowdown with Lowetide brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick on Sports 1440 and YouTube. Wolf GMC Buick. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on select new 2026 Sierra 1500 models. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. We are also on Sports 1440, iHeartRadio, and Radio Player Canada. Our headliner of the day, Brian Hedger from the Columbus Dispatch, to talk about Mike Babcock and his past and his future with the Edmonton Oilers. After the show, we're on Apple and Spotify podcast, and we tweet it out on X. You can text us anytime at 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. You can do it on any subject, although we suspect Mike Babcock will be the subject today. We're on Twitter at Lowetide, at Declan Krueger, and at JFenwick04. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll get right to it, but we are going to do the introductions right now. He has predicted many things correctly in his short, brilliant broadcast career, but his prediction about Mike Babcock, like his old car, blew up real good this week. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Josh Fenwick. Josh Fenwick, everybody.
Just had to bring the car into this, eh?
Yeah, well, you know.
That stings.
Did you name the car? Because a lot of young people do. I know I did.
I wasn't the one that named the car, actually, because we were talking about it right after I had gotten it, 6 years ago. And my brother said, why don't you just call it Vroom? And so, yep, my Civic's name was Vroom for 6 years, and Vroom left us. I was wrong.
I had a 67 Chevy Bel Air Super Sport, maroon with a white rag top roof,
nice,
like a hard top roof, and I called it Veronica.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, after the Archie comic.
Yeah.
I loved it very much. All right.
Makes sense.
He told us yesterday he thought Mike Babcock would be the 19th Oilers coach, and he was right. He's Kreskin 2.0, even though he doesn't even know who Kreskin was. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Declan Krueger. Declan Krueger, everybody.
I thought you might have named it Veronica after the Elvis Costello song.
Well, I bought the car long before Elvis Costello released Veronica.
Really? Wow. I guess my timeline is way out of whack, isn't it?
But Veronica by Elvis Costello is one of my favorite songs by him.
Veronica.
There's a little, I don't know if it's a recorder or whatever at the end of every verse on that is just, I just love it so much. Musically, brilliant stuff. All right. Mike Babcock is going to be the coach of the Edmonton Oilers. And so one of the things that I looked at, I wrote an article about Babcock when he was in the news, and I looked back because I knew there was a history between Mike Babcock and the Edmonton Oilers. I was told years ago, like I'm talking 15 years ago, that by a guy who knew a guy who worked on Daryl Cates' roof. That's how stuff gets around in Edmonton, was that Babcock was going to come that summer. And as it turned out, it didn't happen. But there was a connection. Elliot Friedman in 2015 reported on what would eventually be Todd McClellan's hiring. And he said the Oilers aren't commenting about their situation. Several sources, both in North America and at the World Championship, say Edmonton is concerned about waiting for Babcock and not getting him. As a result, they're working on closing a deal with Todd McClellan. So that's interesting. It's also interesting that you could have looked at the 2008 Detroit Red Wings Stanley Cup winning team and looked at that coaching staff and picked the future for the Edmonton Oilers. Todd McClellan, Jay Woodcroft, Mike Babcock, all on the 2008 Stanley Cup winning staff, and all would eventually go on, as long as Babcock is hired, probably get the media avail either like on the weekend or early next week. That's 3 guys from that team. Now, Babcock himself, I think, brings a mixed bag, and you have to look at, I think, 2 different pasts. The early past, which would have been, the Detroit Red Wings and Anaheim Ducks era, that was featured great goaltending from J.S. Jaguar, and then Chris Osgood and Dominic Hasek and Jimmy Howard. They were rock solid. They were very good in net. And then later on, Frederick Anderson was outstanding as well. So goaltending-wise, he's always found or had a goaltender he could trust, and he had no problem playing the backup. So keep that in mind. I do think, though, you have to split the Anaheim-Detroit era with the Toronto era. In Toronto, he had great goaltending, but he had I'm going to say, a problematic roster in a lot of ways. They did not have a great defenseman a la Nick Lidstrom. They did have a great young player in Austin Matthews, and upcoming players like Nylander, and John Tavares was great. He really helped, and Zach Hyman has talked about how much he helped his career. And Mitch Marner was there and did brilliant work as well. On the last great team, 2018-19, Mike Babcock coached. Yeah, I'll say great because I think they won 46 games. The last one he coached in Toronto, 18-19, they had a tough minutes line that played about 50% of their overall minutes at 5-on-5 against elites. It was Tavares, it was Marner, and it was Zach Hyman. And they're really like 60% goal share against elites is just incredible. And it allowed Austin Matthews to play not second line minutes, but to play softer minutes against easier competition. He had more clean air. The problem they had in 18-19 was a holdout from Nylander, and it really did impact the team. And they went to a Swede, Johansson, I believe, and Kasperi Kapanen. And Matthews still scored very well, but he didn't outscore about 50% or so, and it was problematic. They also had other problems with the defenseman taking a lot of the overall shots. They're not a high percentage move when the defenseman's taking the shot. So they had some issues there. We will talk as the hours go by, including the next 2 that were live on the air, about what Mike Babcock might do with the roster. But now that they're both here, and I've talked about the connections, I want to ask you, first of all, gentlemen, I have 3 questions for you, and we'll just go around. All 3 of us will answer, and we'll go to the next one. Okay, the first question is, do you think the Edmonton Oilers have a better chance of winning the Stanley Cup with Mike Babcock as coach compared to Chris Knobloch?
Not necessarily.
Could you expand?
Oh, sorry. I thought we were doing a rapid fire kind of thing.
I know, but that was too interesting for me not to stop.
No, for me, it just comes down to the guy has been out of the league for 7 years. I know he had a tenure with Columbus where he didn't get to coach. He's 1-6 in the playoffs since Nick Lidstrom retired. He hasn't won a playoff series since 2013. You can actually make the argument he underachieved with that Detroit Red Wings team, only winning 1 cup with how talented they were and what that roster was. He went 0-3 with Toronto. So when I say not necessarily, I just mean that nothing that Mike Babcock has done in almost 20 years, it seems, would lead me to believe that in this day and age, he can coach a team to a Stanley Cup better than Chris Knobloch. So
same question for you. Do they have a better chance with Babcock as coach than they would have if they'd retained Chris Knobloch?
With the point.
Sorry, Josh, you left the room, so I turned the mic off.
Makes sense.
Start it over.
Yep. No. And to the points that I agree with Declan also, but to me, it also comes down to Oilers roster construction, which is not great.
But with him here, do you think he'll improve
No.
it or make it? Okay. So they're doomed, is what you're saying.
Sure.
Yeah. I think the answer is probably contained on the roster. The thing I can't tell you about because I don't know, everything these gentlemen said is true. But I'm also very interested in the roles that Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and the leadership group had. And the reason I'm interested is this organization, probably did need a hard-ass coach. Mike Babcock is the, toughest screw to ever walk a turn at Shawshank in terms of NHL coaches. So they got a guy. There is a lot of baggage with this hiring. And I can't tell you how that's going to work out. I can't. But I will say that if the leadership group has bought in and they have, I hate this phrase, I hate it so much, skin in the game, then I do think that Babcock's hiring, even though it's a lightning rod moment, he does not tolerate things that a younger coach, maybe somebody who was plucked out of the minor leagues and didn't really have necessarily the power to push back, even though he was a stubborn coach. Someone like Chris Knobloch may not have had. I think Babcock can insist on a discipline up and down the line, and we'll talk about it as the day goes on, about what that might look like in terms of assignments and changes in roles for some of the top-end guys and some of the role players as well. All right, your second question is, who benefits most on the current roster if I'm going to assume Nurse is traded? So beyond that, who do you think might benefit most from Mike Babcock coming in?
Well, the natural answer, I think, would be Jake Wallman, right? Because he would end up as that second pairing left defenseman. The problem with Jake Wallman is because naturally we think he's getting paid 7 sheets a year. He's going to slide into that role, but he's got to stay healthy. Like you have to be able to play. How many games has Jake Wallman missed over his NHL career and recently, right? Like that's something that has to factor in. I'll still say him just because what would the other answer be? Whoever that, defense partner would be on the right side, Spencer Stashny, I don't think it would be that. So I'll say Jake Wallman, but it comes with the asterisks of, but he needs to be healthy.
All right. Babcock in, who benefits most, Josh?
Leon Draisaitl. You brought up he's like the grit and grind superstar on this team, right?
Yeah.
And he has that grit and grind line.
Wait, I thought your question was who benefits the most if Nurse is traded?
No,
What
he was
with Babcock?
assuming Nurse is
Oh
traded.
my! So with just Babcock coming in, my answer would be completely different.
Okay, we'll come back to you after
right.
Josh is done.
Yeah, Leon Draisaitl. Again, maybe the point production won't be there, but I think he'll face off against elites and he'll show up and he'll show out, as well as his two wingers and assuming Kasperi Kapanen, even though no deal's been penned there, but Vasily Podkolzin and how well that line has operated in the last few seasons, I think it'll operate better.
And Declan.
Yeah, I'll make this quick because I clearly misunderstood the question. I actually think it might be Zach Hyman. Thrived under Babs in Toronto, kind of took the next step towards what his career could become. Obviously, took a bigger leap than that once he got to Edmonton. Seems to have relationships with Babs. Obviously, the Bulldogs there just hired his son. So I will say Zach Hyman.
I'm going to, because Josh stole my answer, so I'm not going to say Leon and double down on it. I'm going to pick Colton Dach. I think he's exactly the kind of player who can do what Babcock will want, play hard, very much a possession game. That combination of Doc and Frederick were very good at dumping the puck in and getting possession. They worked as a tandem. It was like watching Stampede wrestling on ice. And I think Babcock, if he sees it in training camp or reviews any video, I think he'll really like what they do. And Doc is inexpensive and young and can grow. And that's the kind of player who could really benefit. And you know, he doesn't have to score goals to stay in the lineup. And that's another thing. He won't have a lot of pressure. All he has to do is what he does well and stay healthy. All right. Third and final question for you, gentlemen. And I'll just say it really clear because I don't want to, say it incorrectly. Who do you think would be most under the gun or have the most difficult time with Babcock arriving as coach?
That's a great question. Ike Howard comes to mind.
It's a good answer.
Yeah, just because I think he's I'll go with Ike Howard. But the other thing with Ike Howard is like I don't think anyone views him as a staple with the 12 forwards, right? Not right now. Like he's not like Matt Savoy in that sense. I think I'm still gonna go with him.
Okay. All right. That's a very good answer, by the way.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Matthias Janmark, fringe lineup guy at this point, coming off an injury.
He'll either love him or not. It'll be in or out.
I think there's going to be a lot of battles with Matthias Janmark.
Yeah, and if he's good at penalty killing, then he may get a role. But I mean, he is just hanging by a thread on this roster. I think I'll pick Jake Wallman, and what Declan said earlier is absolutely correct. He's making 7 sheets, as our learned young friend said, and that's true. He is the obvious second pairing left defenseman when Darnell Nurse is dealt. The injuries are one thing, and I think that is a factor. But the ask of Wallman is going to be a lot. Babcock is you can wheel offensively, but you've got to be structured and cover well defensively, and you have to possess the puck. And you don't want to give up possession, and that means scooting back really quick and then maybe taking a hit and moving the puck along, quickly to your partner or up to the center. The centers will come down lower. I guarantee it. That'll be part of Babcock's team. So I think Wallman is under the most pressure. I don't think that should be a surprise. As Declan said earlier, he's moving up in terms of roster spots based on what we know with Darnell Nurse leaving. So he's going to be stepping into a new, not that he hasn't done it before, but he hasn't done it all the time before. And there is a difference. Ryan Rishaug reporting 7 minutes ago, sounds like there's some discussion between the Oilers and Connor Murphy's camp. Today's Babcock News doesn't change anything as far as the players' willingness to consider a return to the Oilers, but the term in dollars will have to make sense based on the market. And that will be like the same for Jason Dickinson. I know that there's been talk of Dickinson signing. So could you get both of them done for $9 million? Like 4.5 and 4.5, I don't know. But if you can get them both done for $9 million and you're trading Darnell Nurse, then maybe that works. Just doing some ciphering out loud on the radio, always a joyous time. And people always text in and say, please do that more, Lowetide. And I'm very happy. I will say at the end, I just want to say that among the things that Babcock has traditionally done well, and I don't like, I'm telling you, I'm being honest with you. I'm not lying to you. Not like all the other times. I don't know. Either it's luck or Babcock's teams really help their goaltenders because their goaltenders have had traditionally really good save percentage. They've increased their worth and value and gotten big contracts. It goes back to J.S. Giguère and all the Detroit Red Wings I mentioned, which were like Osgood. Hasek was already a legend, but Jimmy Howard, there were legacy. There were some other goaltenders in there who did really well. And then Anderson in Toronto, when he was healthy, he became legend because he was so damn good on that team. And he was a real leader there. And of course, he recently won a Stanley Cup, even though he wasn't completely healthy with the Carolina Hurricanes. So I think goalies in Edmonton, if they can survive, because there's a lot of pressure, I think he'll use both. Tristan Jarry and whomever, they tend to benefit or stand to benefit based on what we know about Mike Babcock. All right. I hope that helps. I know that there's always a sense of, okay, what's going on, what's happening. Kind of laid the groundwork based on how we all feel. And we're going to talk about that throughout the day. You're already texting in with your opinions. We're going to have that. We're going to do rumors. We are at 1 o'clock. Well, it's 1:20, 1 o'clock, right?
1 o'clock, yes.
1 o'clock. We have Brian Hedger from Columbus Dispatch. And I believe on Declinations today, we're talking Mama CFL.
Declan CFL, that is absolutely correct.
Yes.
Elks home opener on Saturday.
Any lineup changes, any worries? I know they're always putting people on injured reserve. But.
Yeah, Coulter Woodmansey to the 6-game IL. That is a huge loss. Make no bones about it. And then Ativa Muaga Clements, really valuable teamer. He's also going to be out of the lineup.
Yeah. Teamers are where you see the future starters, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how you crack the lineup.
Yeah, exactly. You get in there. You would have been a great teamer, and then you would have become a fantastic linebacker or DB.
I would have been a good coach.
You could still be. Time is not running out. You're young, man.
When we had Coach Killam in studio with Elks Nation, I tried to pitch him for a job, basically.
Yeah, and what did he say? Review tape and get back to me?
He said he'll think about it.
But he gave you he flashed a good smile.
Yeah, I had a great smile.
All right. Good. All right. Rumors on the way next. Lowdown with Lowetide, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick.
Cattail Crossing Golf and Winter Club. Fun and friendly with morning rates Monday to Thursday. Just $65 for 18 holes with cart. $55 for seniors. Includes a $5 food voucher for dining at Cattail's Out of Bounds restaurant. There's early bird golf Saturday and Sunday. $50 for 9 holes with cart and snack voucher. 9 and dine Fridays after 4. $130 per pair for 9 holes, cart, and a $40 Out of Bounds gift card. Plus, Glow Golf every second Friday and bring your dog golfing on Mondays. Visit cattailcrossing.ca.
Are you a skilled laborer? All-Star Construction wants to talk to you. A heavy equipment operator with Traco or backhoe experience? All-Star Construction wants to talk to you, too. With work in and around Edmonton for local land developers, All-Star Construction offers year-round employment. Whether it's power, gas, or telecom, developers rely on All-Star Construction to get the job done. So if you're a skilled laborer or a heavy equipment operator with Traco or backhoe experience searching for work, search All-Star Construction on Indeed.
Our new McCafe crafted sodas just drinks or something more? Like Sprite Berry Bliss, Creamy Strawberry Coke, and Orange Dream. All swirled with fizzy flavor and topped with silky cold foam. Only at McDonald's. At participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada.
Diamond Rides is one of Alberta's premier specialty charter companies. With our luxury motor coaches, we provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation services. Our seatbelt equipped, top-of-the-line motor coaches have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel needs across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact sales at 877-748-0991. Or visit silentrides.ca.
From the first pitch to the final out, catch Toronto Blue Jays baseball games live right here. Don't miss a moment of Blue Jays baseball this season. Sports 1440 is proud to be the home of Blue Jays baseball.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV, and this is the time of the year most RV stores wish their lot was full. At the new RV stores, product is trickling in, mostly just for taking orders. But having an RV on order doesn't mean much when the weather's great for camping today.
No Bull has hundreds of quality used RVs on the lot now. Right, Rick?
That's right, Bob. Walk into No Bull RV today and you could be in the great outdoors next weekend. No waiting, no hoping it'll be here by summer, just the perfect used trailer, motorhome, fifth wheel, or toy hauler that you need.
And every RV at No Bull is one of a kind.
Every family is one of a kind too, Bob. Think we can't find the perfect one for you? Take a look around. At No Bull, you'll save thousands compared to the cost of a new RV. You can build your summer plan on hope, or you can know for sure. And ask about our Camp Ready service plan when you're here to make this the best summer yet.
And that's No Bull.
NoBullRV.ca.
Breaking down the fine art of sports, one rep at a time. The Lowdown with Lowetide. Thanks for checking out Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's the Lowdown on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. Check them out at wolfgmcbuick.com. Great job on the music today, Declan. Already, out of the box. I think you get so excited about it not being Twang Tuesday that you spend the next 2 days just rocking the free world.
Well, it's only been 2 songs, but I appreciate it.
Well, today's Thursday, right?
Yes.
So it's been 2 songs and a day since Twang Tuesday. I know the days run together when you are living free and easy and having a great time. Did you bring your lunch today?
I did.
You were a little crappy yesterday. I didn't want to say anything, but you got grumpy.
I don't think I was grumpy.
Yeah, kind of were. Josh, was he grumpy?
No, he wasn't grumpy. You mistook me for Declan at one point.
Yeah, which he does often, which is crazy.
Well,
Worked
but you
worked
weren't
together for 3 years, by the way.
You weren't in the room. This was during the McCurdy interview, and I operated the board, and we go into the break, and Lowetide's like, "You okay, Declan? You've been grumpy."
No,
I'm like,
I said you've been quiet.
Oh, you've been
I would
quiet.
never say that somebody's grumpy because that's a trigger word.
And I was like, well, Declan's not here, so.
The reason I said grumpy today was because it's a trigger word.
Sure.
Yesterday, I couldn't use it because we weren't on the air. Today, I could. If he got mad at me, we could use it. That's how it works. All right, it's time for Rumors, brought to you by Harley-Davidson of Edmonton. It's riding season, and Harley-Davidson of Edmonton has your next bike waiting. Huge selection of new and pre-owned, plus test rides available. Locally owned and operated since 1980 on the Yellowhead Trail or at hdedmonton.com. And if you're driving on the Yellowhead and looking for a coffee and some great conversation, just head in there. And you can check some of the bikes. And if you know anybody who rides a Harley, they've got all kinds of accessories too, which is the correct way to say that word. Just ask the CBC. Okay, the Edmonton Oilers are free to roam the earth as they wish, and as they wish means Mike Babcock will be the 19th coach in Oilers history and Oilers NHL history. And I'm not going to read you the media sheet, the press release that came out. You can read it yourself. It's pretty straightforward. They basically said it didn't raise to the level where they could keep him from being employed. And I'm assuming that the Vegas Golden Knights, now that there are no jobs for coaches available, will release Bruce Cassidy to do whatever he wants, which means next year country, which, could be a factor for the Oilers by this time next year. We can't, predict the future. Now, what does that mean to the Edmonton Oilers? Well, immediately, I think what it could mean is that they're going to double back on some pretty important players. Remember at the deadline when Stan Bowman acquired three players, Colton Dach, Jason Dickinson, and Connor Murphy. Colton Dach, he'll be here next year. Pretty sure of that. The other two are unrestricted free agents, and that means they need money. We talked about it in the last conversation, last segment we had. But here's the deal. Jason Dickinson is a really good penalty killer. He could be a third-line center for this team. I really hesitate to recommend him based on last year because they didn't use him in a tough minutes role. But he does play a lot against elites, or he did in Chicago, and he has that capability. The Oilers have two guys who can do that, who are clearly better in Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. If they're looking to reduce the ice time at 5-on-5 for those two cats, then Dickinson makes a little bit of sense. But it's a risk because he's going to cost a lot. There are not a lot of centers out there in free agency. And in regard to Connor Murphy, one of the things that made him a really good candidate to return to the Edmonton Oilers was he played so well with Darnell Nurse. Now, it looks like Darnell Nurse is going to be traded. So there's a danger here, and that is, you want Murphy to play someone he's comfortable with, and Wallman, they didn't play very much together because they didn't have time. Wallman might be the perfect guy for it, but when you're investing, this is probably going to be 4 years times $4 million for both of these guys. Maybe Dickinson is less, but I don't think so because the free agent market is so bad. So if you trade Darnell Nurse for not a lot, and then you say, okay, we're going to get Dickinson and Murphy signed with the money we save from Darnell Nurse, I still think you need a veteran winger. But you also create a scenario where Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is playing on left wing probably, because your center group would be Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Jason Dickinson, and Josh Semensky. But, and it's a big but, just like mine. If the plan remains Draisaitl and McDavid on the same line, then it could be Draisaitl, McDavid, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Jason Dickinson, and Josh Semensky up the middle. I don't recommend it. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins isn't a brilliant second-line center at this point in his career. He can't successfully outscore the elites without great help on the wings. And I'll be interested, honestly, it's one of the key questions I have in terms of what Mike Babcock is going to do. What I think he may do is run McDavid with Matt Savoy and Zach Hyman, much the same way as has been done in the past. And then the second line, the Leon Draisaitl line with Podkolzin and another winger. I don't know who it is. Maybe it's Kasperi Kapanen. That would be the zone start line, like the defensive zone start line. They would during home games they would try to Babcock will line match more than Chris Knobloch ever did. So the line matching will help get some clean air for whomever Mike Babcock wants. I think he probably would like Connor McDavid to get more clean air. So that may mean more of a tough minutes situation for Draisaitl. And what I envision, and please understand, Mike Babcock is the coach, but I think Leon Draisaitl has the ability and the size and the demeanor and the ass-hattery, I think that's a fair word, to play a 200-foot game a la the guy they've got in Florida who was injured this year, Alexander Barkov. And I think that Babcock's going to look at this team differently. And so we have to do a little bit of I hate out of the box, but a paradigm shift in viewing. Let's put it that way. Look at Leon Draisaitl and what he is. He's a great big man with fantastic passing and shooting skills, but he's got a lot of game. His possession numbers are great. Mike Babcock will look at Leon Draisaitl, and the word possession is going to pop into his brain. He probably already has. Leon Draisaitl is and can be a possession demon for this team, even against the best. You've got to give him good line mates, but he can do that. And I think that Leon Draisaitl is going to be a centerpiece of this team moving forward under Mike Babcock in a way that he hasn't been before, unless he's already agreed to put Draisaitl and McDavid together, which would be a pure shame based on the quality of talent that could be available down the middle. In the NHL, you always want to deal with down the middle. Now, what about the defense? Well, I think Wallman, if they sign Murphy, that'll be the second pairing. I don't think you should ever worry about Ekholm and Bouchard. If they're both healthy, that is a Stanley Cup winning tandem. If they're healthy, and they were not healthy for games 6 and 7 in 2024. That was a key to the series. They weren't healthy. They couldn't pass the puck, couldn't skate, weren't good. It happens. They lost the cup because of it, and a few other things. So, up front, I think Leon Draisaitl is a key. I don't know if they can afford Jason Dickinson, but he'd be a valuable guy to have, even if he only plays the tough minutes when there's injury or he's needed to step up for whatever reason somebody's slumping. I still think it's a good idea. It's a big day for Edmonton Oilers fans. You may not like it. It's happened, and we've already talked about how we feel about this. I knew this is a good lesson for anybody following the Edmonton Oilers. When in a period where there's some opening, like a head coach, rights holders media are always going to get things first. That's just the way it works. So when names are dropped, always pay attention to them, because that's a little tip they've gotten, and they're just sending it out there either because they can't resist or because they're shooting it up the flagpole and see who salutes. The Edmonton Oilers do that. Most organizations do. They go, this might be an initially unpopular hire. Why don't you just throw the name out there, see what kind of reaction we get? If it's like overwhelming, maybe we'll reassess, but probably not. I mean, I'm making it up, but I think that's pretty clear what did happen here. And then when the pushback comes and the story keeps going, like the story has legs and wheels, and it's rolling down the road, and you can't stop it, and it keeps coming up. And the city's Edmonton Oilers word balloon keeps showing you Babcock, then you know you have your story. Remember in 2019 spring when Ken Holland got here, and the word balloon above Edmonton never included the word Philip Broberg, never included that name, never, not one time. I follow Oilers media very closely. I talk to Oilers fans all the time. I may be not the biggest expert on what Oilers fans are thinking, but I know what they're thinking. And Broberg wasn't there at all. Not mentioned by the organization. No fans were on it. I can't remember where I ranked him, but it was somewhere. Holland gets here, and he starts mentioning Broberg on the double, like all the time. At a golf course, he mentions him. In the middle of nowhere, he's got a tree behind him, Broberg. And that's how the Oilers operate. They are often ahead of the story, and they're indicating what's going to happen. In the case of Babcock, they absolutely did. So when you see names like Jason Dickinson, as was delivered yesterday, with a number of what the contract might look like. It may not happen, but it's out there, and it's out there from a rights holder media. And so that's what you should pay attention to always. And you can follow RCN on Twitter if you don't have time to do anything else. Okay, so there you go. That's free, by the way. I'm not going to charge you for that advice if you're an Oilers fan, but I use it because it helps me in my writing. I can get ahead of the game. Can write stuff that I don't have to trash, which does happen from time to time. The Toronto Maple Leafs are reportedly targeting Darren Radish. Do we really think he's going to get to free agency? I think they're going to pay him, right?
I think they're probably going to pay him, but he's also a guy, little bit older, hasn't ever made great money. You look at the free agent market this year. Like, I do think Tampa ends up paying him probably the most that could be offered, but like I'm testing it for sure. He could get $8 million.
You know what
maybe
I would do?
More. He could maybe get more.
Yeah, I think what Tampa Bay is doing is say, okay, listen to whatever you want. Come back to us at the end. Tell us what your best offer is, and I think they'll give it to them.
I agree.
There's no
especially
taxes
like
there.
Yeah, with Hedman now as well. Like
they're gonna sign him. Patrice Bergeron will have his number tied by the Boston Bruins. I know that on the morning show today with Carius, they were talking about where he ranks all time among Boston Bruins players. I mean, I can't go back to the Milt Schmidt era or the Eddie Shore era, but I would put both of them like above pretty much everybody not named Bobby Orr. I think you've got to go Orr, Shore, Dick Clapper, Milt Schmidt, Bill Esposito, Johnny Busick, but somewhere in there, maybe before Phil Esposito. So we're talking Orr, Shore, Clapper, Schmidt, and I'm not even sure about Schmidt because I never saw him play, obviously. But I think he'd be in the top 5 all-time Boston Bruins, I'll put it that way. Patrice Bergeron, I remember when he was drafted. He was drafted outside the first round in 2003. And I read the Bruins all the time. And back then you had to read it like willy-nilly, pell-mell. You couldn't get it for the way you get it now. It's all organized for you. Right at the beginning of training camp, they said, this guy, man, I don't know what the hell's going on, but he seems to know what he's doing no matter what we throw at him. And the Bruins back then and even now, they're brutal. Like they sent Milan Lucic out because he's not in shape. The Bruins are the hard ass. And Bergeron made the team as a teenager. 2nd round pick. Are you kidding me? That never happens. And of course, he had a glorious Hall of Fame career. I just loved watching him because he was just a beautiful hockey player. He did everything right. He was like having a coach on the ice. He knew what to do. It was 2011 when they won the Stanley Cup. I was so happy. And I haven't been a pure Bruins fan since, the Stanley Cup between the Oilers and the Bruins, but I love that player very much. And I'm glad he's having his number retired, and I hope they have all the old Bruins back. Is there anything? We're just doing hockey today because I don't have time for anything else. Is there anything I've forgotten about? Anything that's happened that we haven't gotten into yet that we should do on the rumors segment? Maybe something's come in the last 10 minutes or so.
Apparently, multiple teams are exploring a trade with the Buffalo Sabres for Bowen Byram.
Okay, I heard Connor Hellebuck too.
Pardon?
I heard Connor Hellebuck might be in play.
I just don't get it if I'm Winnipeg. First of all, I saw a mock trade, by the way, from the Panthers that was Lundell, a first, and someone else for Connor Hellebuck. And Panthers fans were just adamant they wouldn't do it. And someone kind of came out and said, like, I've never seen a team's fan base value a 45-point center this much.
That's interesting because Hellebuck, to me, like how old is their brilliant goalie now? 70?
Oh, Sergei?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like they're not going to sign him.
No,
not their goalie anymore.
Yeah. So they got to go get a guy. And if you were going to go get a guy, isn't that the guy you'd go get?
I really, really don't think he is 37. That's crazy. I really just don't think Winnipeg parts ways with Connor Hellebuck.
Well, we'll see. Sometimes the player can push that, right? I think it's the year of that. I know you don't agree with me. I know that you think Larkin is a one-off, but I think there may be more.
That was Josh. I agreed with you.
I'm looking at Josh. You may not know that, but I was looking straight at Josh. He made eye contact with me. He knew I was talking to him.
Yep.
All right. You, of course, would not know that.
No, and nor would the listeners or some of the radio.
Look, how many people can I care about? I'm looking after Josh over here. You got to take care of some of this.
You don't have to look after me. What is this?
You're a young man. You lost your car, and
that is a big moment in someone's life when they lose their first car.
Right. And I mean, now that I know it was called Vroom, I should have got you something. All right. On the way, coming up at 1:00 today, looking forward to this conversation with Brian Hedger from the Columbus Dispatch, obviously about Mike Babcock. We might talk a little bit about the Blue Jackets. They're an interesting team. We're talking football. CFL, Declan CFL at 1:40 today, and we'll have more of your comments straight ahead. Lowdown with Lowetide, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Looking for a truck that can handle anything Alberta throws your way? Wolf GMC Buick has the offers to get you behind the wheel. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on select new 2026 GMC Sierra 1500 models. Plus, trade in an eligible 2015 or newer pickup and receive a $1,000 truck trade-in bonus on select Sierra models. Ask about bonus offers for heroes, students, recent graduates, and more. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com.
There's one game that kicks off summer, June 20th at Play Alberta Field at Commonwealth Stadium. The Elks home opener, Elks Alouettes, presented by James H. Brown, Alberta Injury Lawyers. Lock in your tickets now at goelks.com/tickets. Our city, our year.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
Missioner Allen Auctioneering's Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg Public Unreserved Equipment Auction is this Friday at 9 a.m. featuring articulated dump trucks, backhoes, excavators, forklifts, graders, loaders, packers, reclaimer, skid steers, telehandlers, turf mowers, plus commercial trailers. Info at maauctions.com.
Hey, it's Jamie from Green Drop Lawn Care. You've known and trusted us as Canada's lawn expert since 1979. In all that time, the only thing we've loved to watch grow and flourish more than your lawn is our community. You've given us so much over the years, and we love to give back. Our community events crew is on the streets, at the festivals, and helping grow great causes and charities across the city. We love knowing your lawn is taken care of, and we'll help take care of the community too. Visit greendrop.com, and we'll see you out there.
Missioner Allen Auctioneering's next Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg Public Unreserved Industrial Auction is this Friday at 9 a.m. featuring a large selection of 2020 to 2014 Caterpillar, John Deere, and Volvo articulated dump trucks. Info at maauctions.com.
Breaking down the fine art of sports, one rep at a time. The Lowdown with Lowetide. Thanks for checking out Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. wolfgmcbuick.com.
It's the Lowdown on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. Check them out, wolfgmcbuick.com. Another kind of a meh day. How far are we away from summer? Official.
3 days.
Yeah, you're right. 3 days.
So I think summer better get a wiggle on.
Well, would you like to hear the projected forecast for all of next week?
Karen read it to me, but read it to me again because I like suffering.
Yeah. All right. So good news. Tomorrow, sunny. Saturday, 100% rain. Sunday, 95% rain. Monday, only 55% rain. Then Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday next week, thunderstorms. However, the highs during the day are from Monday to Friday are 20, 23, 26, 25, 24.
Okay. Our grass is so green right now.
Yeah. I really need that rain to stop next Saturday.
Why?
Big barbecue at the Fenwick residence.
Oh, like in Calgary?
No, at like my apartment.
Oh, wow.
Big summer party. So
how many people do you have coming?
Multiple. I'm not giving hard numbers right now. But yeah, I needed to shore up. I got to buy a lot of hot dogs and burger patties.
It's okay.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
I only just spent $3,100 in less than 24 hours. No big whoop.
And half of that was on a toe.
Yeah, I know.
Damn. All right. So Canada, Qatar both have a draw in the World Cup, and they play what time today?
4.
Yeah. I will be watching that. That's going to be good. It's going to be
as we all should be.
England won. South Africa win?
Draw. 1-1 draw. They scored a penalty late.
All right, there you go. So the problem when you do the pool play, it's like, okay, and they're moving a little bit, but you kind of get an idea about how powerful the powerhouses are. But it's sort of hard to tell until you get to maybe the third game, and then it's like, okay, they got to win this, and so today's game is really big. Canada has drawn. That's good. I think they were down, and then they got the tying goal, and they got out of it. They got a result. Now, if they could win today, that would be massive. What say you, young Declan Krueger? Do you expect them to win against Qatar?
I do expect them to win. I also think they kind of, you kind of need to a little bit. I think, no disrespect to Qatar, but you're on home soil. Like, you've kind of taken steps here. You obviously made it last time around. This time, it seems like there needs to be more of an emphasis on, hey, we actually got to make something happen here. Qatar obviously had that draw with Switzerland, which was incredible for them. But I think you're the better club. I think you got to find a way to get 3 points out of this one.
I would just like to see Canada score the first 2 goals. I'm always on pins and needles.
Some games don't even get to 2 goals. So if they can score both of the first 2, that's huge.
I just want I want to be able to relax and have my schnapps. You know what I mean, Vern? Not Fred said this is exactly how the weather was 40 years ago for Black Friday, with the thunderstorms in the area and it heating up. Worried about those thunderstorms. Well, it was August though, right? Black Friday was August, I believe. And we're not quite there yet. Although, we do get warmer temperatures. So what am I talking about? But there were some, I think Manitoba had a big one. And there was one in Alberta too, Twister.
Yeah.
I don't remember where. Was it Bicyker? No, it wasn't Bicyker. It's like that Bugs Bunny guy. Was it a coyote? No, wasn't a coyote. Okay. You don't know what I'm talking about. I think it was July, says Not Fred. Okay, there you go. But a tie game, it says exciting soccer, it's a sister kisser. I think, because goals are so valuable, when you're down 1-0 and you score when Canada did, it's elation in a way that it wouldn't be in a hockey game. Yeah, well, we got the tying goal. Somebody's got to score this, winning goal, but somebody's going to score 2. It's different with soccer because goals are so rare. So goals are massive. And, I'd like to see Canada score 2 because that would be a good result, especially early.
The tornado was near Grand Prairie.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you to the number 1 fact checker on this show, my mom.
It's her or the other guy.
We don't pay her, but we probably should.
Yeah. She just loves volunteering her time.
Well, I think she's a curious person.
Love you, Mom.
We've got the curious listeners we have are your mom, and then the guy who makes Donovan crazy, and then the guy who picks on Declan about LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
That's 3.
He also had Messi out of the top 5. So it's at a point you just got to stop entertaining these people.
Messi out of the top 5 in what?
In soccer,
like
not even
sandwich
in
making.
It's just have a blessed day, brother.
That's your way of I know what that is. You're saying goodbye is what you're saying.
Have a blessed day, brother.
Basketball takes forever to play and soccer ends in ties. I can have my dog chase and roll around from Billy. Soccer's great. I played soccer when I was a kid. I loved playing it. And maybe that's why I like it so much. And look, I watch the Euro and I watch the World Cup, and then I get 350,000 texts from Almeida telling me the soccer news. That's my soccer experience. I don't have time. I got Murder, She Wrote. I got hockey. That's it. And I got to go buy stuff for food. So that's my life. And I don't have time for soccer the way these chaps have time for everything. When you're young, You can listen to music. You can watch all the sports. You can play the video games. I understand there's a really good baseball video game out now, where if you're swinging at it, and you say, I'm swinging at the pitch, I'm assuming it's going to be an outside pitch. I'm guessing it's outside. And if it's outside, you get an extra oomph on your pitch.
I mean, like, there's MLB The Show. I don't know about it.
That's
Backyard.
That's it. MLB The Show.
The show has been out for a long time.
There's a new version of it.
Yeah, they make a new one every year.
Yeah, this new version has that.
Every version has that.
Listen,
because you control the bat. And you put it in a different part of the box.
I found out about this 11 minutes ago, and I'm an expert.
Okay. So. Yeah, my bad. I only led the Angels to a World Series, which is how you know it was a video game.
I bet your man had a lot of home runs.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
He was I pulled the full Shohei Ohtani, pitched and hit.
Blair says, I always fact check for Kevin Carius. He's incorrect 99% of the time. Also, he loves Regula. I love the idea of Regula because he's a big man who skates okay, about average, but he can move the puck. I'm telling you, you kids out there, you moms and dads out there, if you've got a right-handed player who can skate, you make him a defenseman and you just teach him about vision and passing, and he will buy your house for you by the time he's 25. It was Pine Lake. Girouville. People are just sending in stuff now. Way to go, Mom, from Jordy.
Jordy, ball knower.
There you go.
It's not easy to be a ball knower.
As they say, a 3-goal lead is the worst lead in soccer. For Tim.
The thing about soccer is like a 3-goal lead is
yeah.
You get a 1-goal lead and the commentators are like, it's looking pretty dire. A 2-goal lead, forget. 3rd-goal lead, run the clock, which I guess they do anyway.
Well, 3rd-goal lead, if you are broadcasting a game where somebody's got a 3-goal lead, you're just looking forward to the next game. And you do the play-by-play, but you're definitely talking about what this win means or loss. It's done.
You listen to a game with a 3-goal deficit, and the commentators can barely speak because they just can't believe this is happening to their beautiful sport.
There's a sense of, well, this is garbage, Oh, well. All right. What else do we have from the text line? I missed the video game Spy Hunter from Brian. Is that some awful game, or I've said something bad? Is this like the cribbage term all over again?
I have no idea what that is.
You're in your head a little bit about like everything.
But I say stuff and then people get mad at me because I don't know the new meaning of it.
Spy Hunter is a 1983 vehicular combat video game developed and published for arcades.
Do you guys know it's the off season yet?
It draws inspiration from the James Bond films.
We should be talking about Mike Babcock.
No, we should. How many more opinions?
Let's talk about
Mike.
Mike Babcock doesn't get enough publicity in this town.
How many opinions can we give on this guy?
The word bubble on Babcock over the last month has been like nothing else matters. Nothing. Lowetide, wonderful Bergeron summary from Daryl. I was so blown away by him. My favorite part of sports as a fan is when I watch a team build. And no disrespect to the Oilers general managers since McDavid got here. The build has been like a love roller coaster, in the words of the great philosophers, the Ohio players. It's just been up and down and all over, and nuts and bolts are flying out, and it's just been unbelievable. Now, the Bruins, back when Bergeron came in, and then the ensuing years with, Lucic and Marchand and getting Tim Thomas for nothing, their build towards the 2011 Stanley Cup was gorgeous. It really was. And it's one of the reasons why I highly endorsed Peter Chiarelli when he came here. And I admit I was wrong. First time again. But I thought he'd do a really good job here, and it did not work out. And it did not work out a lot. But I that's why when Holland got here, I was more guarded, but I think Holland did a better job than Chiarelli. And now we'll see about Stan Bowman. One thing I find, I'm going to push back on something that I'm reading here today. People are mad at Stan Bowman for hiring Mike Babcock. And they're saying, well, he there was the thing in Chicago where he didn't speak up or know about it or wasn't curious or whatever. And now this. But I think we can agree that this was a pretty much an ownership hire. Until further notice, I think I'm going to go with that. If they have the media avail next week and they're like, no, Stan went to Daryl Cates and said, please let me hire him, then I will change my mind. But in the absence of more information, the word we got early was that Cassidy was the target. And then around that time, it was just slid in there, just a slide piece where it's like that little recorder at the end of the chorus of Veronica by Elvis Costello. It's just this sweet little sound right at the end, and you go, what is that? And you're delighted by it. That's what it was when Mike Babcock slid in, as Dizzy Dean said. That's kind of what this is about, in my opinion. The time I wasted on Spy Hunter, I could have been an astronaut or doctor, from the Avro Arrow. Did you ever play Spy Hunter, you two?
So what year did you say this came out, Deck?
83.
Well, some of the classics.
No, I've played some
Not that
arcade games for
classic.
sure before. That one predates me. Never got around to that one.
Do you like Pac-Man or Miss Pac-Man better?
I don't know what's the difference.
Oh, there's difference, baby.
I think I like Pac-Man.
I have to say Miss Pac-Man because we have a Miss Pac-Man machine in our basement.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I will tell you, I don't know the difference, but I did at the time. Pac-Man came out before Miss Pac-Man, and there was something, I think it was the energy or the lives, there was something it had in it that the other one didn't, and I liked it.
I still couldn't tell you.
I'm going to look it up.
The big tornadoes in the past were Edmonton and Pine Lake, more recently Grand Prairie, from Monique. How is it that the ladies are so good at keeping us on the straight and narrow, and the men text in with lies?
Because women live longer than men, and like this is why.
Do you follow that Twitter people? It's called Why Men Die Early or something like that. Die First?
No.
Guys jumping off roofs onto God knows what.
Average Tuesday afternoon. Drunk people doing things is more my speed.
No.
Also things I do.
There's a lot more. I don't know. I don't invite it. I don't ask for it, but there's a lot more fist fights on streets on my Twitter feed lately.
I will never get in a fist fight on a street.
No, me either.
Until I do, but
I don't know.
I'm trying to avoid that.
You're pretty. I'm not saying you're happy-go-lucky, but the things you're intense about are so random.
Oh, I am definitely happy-go-lucky.
No, but you get angry, but it's about stuff that doesn't matter. Lug nuts, how many are there? Stuff like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't get angry. I simply get frustrated.
But like, you're going to be a great old man.
Shoes?
Why do I wear them?
It is very uncommon for me to be angry. Does not happen often.
You roll your eyes a lot, though.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
that helps.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. I think we've wasted enough time.
Probably.
All right. I was reading something. I can't read and talk at the same time. It's impossible. It's a fact. All right. On the way, we're going to be talking about Mike Babcock with Brian Hedger from the Columbus Dispatch. We have declinations. It's Declan CFL at 1:40, and we'll have more of your comments and talk about the imminent Mike Babcock hire straight ahead. This is the Lowdown with Lowetide, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. It's time for an update with Declan Krueger.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Elks Nation. For the best Elks coverage year-round with podcasts and articles, go to elksnation.ca. Player interview, game analysis, and more. The best green and gold coverage online, elksnation.ca. Mike Babcock has been cleared in the NHL investigation as the Oilers close in on him as their new head coach. Jonathan Toews set to announce his retirement on Friday after 16 NHL seasons, and multiple teams exploring trade options with the Buffalo Sabres for defenseman Byram Murray Alford, signing with the Montreal Alouettes and CFL News for his second stint with the team. And as we discussed, Patrice Bergeron is having his number retired by the Bruins. World Cup final from earlier today. Czechia and South Africa with the 1-1 draw. Switzerland and Bosnia-Herzegovina up next in about a minute's time. Here, Canada and Qatar at 4. And in the MLB right now, the Jays lead the Red Sox 2-0. You Savage on the mound. And the other games in the league see the Twins leading the Rangers 4-0 and the Guardians and Brewers tied 1-1. I'm Declan Krueger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Getting your vehicle sparkling clean doesn't have to cost a fortune. Take it into Hughes today and pay just loonies a wash.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com. Say hello to your new favorite drinks. Introducing new McCafe Refreshers. Icy cool, undeniably refreshing, and available in 3 flavors. Strawberry watermelon, mango pineapple, and blackberry passion fruit. Only at McDonald's.
Tee up at the 2026 Golf-a-thon presented by Popeye Supplements tomorrow at Rundle Park, supporting the University Hospital Foundation. Golf all day long for $250, including a cart and food. GoTrackSocialClub.com.
Attention Alberta construction pros. For over 50 years, Jaffa Equipment Rentals has been your go-to for top-notch equipment and stellar service. Whether you need rentals or expert maintenance, we've got you covered. Stop by our Edmonton or Calgary locations today.
You have neck or back pain? Ever go for treatment hoping for a simple fix only to realize your stubborn spine is basically a science project with attitude? Hey, we get it. And honestly, we're a little sorry because great rehab does take proper experimenting. But at Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we don't just toss exercises into the beaker and hope it doesn't explode. We start with the right diagnosis, then mix hands-on care, precise manual therapy, and evidence-based technology. The formula your body actually needs. Science and skill with gratitude, not attitude. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
The best way to experience Elks football is being there when it happens. From single game to flex packs, group tickets, and family packs. Your seats, your way. Ticket packs available now at goelks.com/tickets. Edmonton Elks. Our city, our year.
You need the lowdown? It's with Lowetide right now on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's the lowdown on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. Ask about bonus offers for heroes, students, recent graduates, and more. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. And we're just starting hour number 2, and we are still basking in the glow of the NHL's announcement about Mike Babcock. So it's time for our headliner of the day, brought to you by Faber. Playoff season is done now. The last thing you need is debt stealing the thrill of reliving the Carolina Hurricanes Stanley Cup victory. A free consultation with a local Faber licensed insolvency trustee could be the turning point. Visit faber.ca, FABER.ca. We are delighted to be joined from the Columbus Dispatch this afternoon. Brian Hedger. Brian, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on. Really enjoyed the Bee Gees there on the lead-in.
Yeah, me too. I loved it very much. I remember the movie, John Travolta walking down the street with the paint cans. It was very good.
I think you could use some AI and put Babs in there, maybe have him doing some disco moves. Well, and then you guys get some content,
Yeah, I couldn't do that, but we've got people who could. So that's a great idea, and well done by you. So let's start. I want to ask you a little bit about Columbus and what the plans are. But let's start with our big story here in Edmonton, where Mike Babcock, not official yet, the media veil probably next week, but the NHL has cleared the Oilers to hire Mike Babcock as head coach. Let me ask you if you thought we would reach this day at any point in time, or did you think it was pretty much done for Mike Babcock as an NHL coach after the Columbus situation?
Yeah. I'm not. I'm not going to lie. Like after what happened here and the way he left and how quickly it all happened and went down here, and then you combine that with, the bullying type allegations he dealt with, with both Detroit and Toronto. I thought this was strike three, to be honest with you. I really did. I just didn't see how there was going to be a path back to the NHL for Mike Babcock. That said, I have always kept it in the back of my mind and realized, how revered he is in the coaching industry still. For what he has done and just, a lot of the other stuff that doesn't get talked about as much, the winning and other way, like he's a tremendous in-game coach as well. So there was always kind of like in the back of your mind, like, well, maybe, but then it just felt like that was it. Like that, like, I don't see how he comes back, and then, he's back. So here it is. And, we'll see what happens from here.
So there were, in 2015, before they hired Todd McClellan, there was a lot of smoke in Edmonton around Mike Babcock, but they weren't sure they could get him. They just weren't sure if he'd be able to, they were going to be competing against Toronto. So they went with Todd McClellan and had that version of success with McClellan during the McDavid era. And in Columbus, I think it was like 80 days, right? Like he was not employed long as coach, but I felt like Columbus was kind of getting an idea about what they might look like with Babcock as coach.
Yeah, you're off by 2. You're over on the prices, right? It was 78 days.
Okay.
But 78, we're rounding up to 80. Yeah, and listen, like when they made the hire, Jarmo Kekalainen made no bones about it that, he had a relationship, with Mike Babcock going back to his junior days as a scout, like scouting juniors and things like that. And really respected him as a coach and whatnot. And so, yeah, you had a feel for what, who he was as a coach as far as the wins and all the stuff that he had done when he came here. There was, we were writing it before any of this stuff came up here in Columbus. We were writing about, how he left Toronto and the Mitch Marner thing, and also, how he left Detroit and the Johan Franzen, stuff that came out about that afterward as well. So it's always kind of been this dichotomy of the coach, the guy who's just a tremendous NHL hockey coach, and just some of the tactics of the human that just quite frankly seem very questionable at best.
Yeah, it was like I remember there was a great deal of promise around the hire, and Babcock has a history of goaltending kind of looking good in his system. It's a very strict possession system, which benefits the goaltender and the defense and the goals against. And it felt to me like they were I don't remember the starting goalie that year going in. Merzlikins ended up playing 41 games. I'm assuming he was the guy. Babcock didn't coach in the regular season, but I do remember it being kind of a difficult adjustment because it happened so late. So Columbus was maybe not starting from behind, but they were on a direction that they didn't think they were going as the regular season began.
Yeah, it pretty much kneecapped that whole season. And I will say, to back up, exactly what you were saying is they were really excited to get Mike Babcock, the hockey coach, there because of what you said. Goalies tend to play a lot better under his system because also the defensemen play a lot better and more direct and there's more clarity, on the defensive end when for a Mike Babcock coach team. And so, one of there was 2 other things that happened in that off season, and we never really got this confirmed, but there was kind of inferred that Mike Babcock probably wouldn't have taken this job if they don't go out and get 2 veteran NHL defensemen to bolster that back end. And they ended up doing that in that season, in that period when they were waiting to officially hire Babcock. They went out and they got Damon Severson in a sign and trade deal that was like a max deal with the Devils, and then he came in, right-handed defenseman, and they also got Ivan Provorov at that time from the Philadelphia Flyers. So you're adding 2 veteran NHL defenders to this team that Mike Babcock's going to take over. And yes, Elvis was going to be the goalie. I believe it was. I'm trying to remember who the backup was. I don't know if Corpy had left yet, but it was definitely going to be Elvis. And the thought was, because Elvis, I think he was coming off kind of a tough season, and the thought was, well, let's play better defense in front of him, and that should help make him better as well. So there was a lot of excitement as far as the defensive side of the game with Mike Babcock coming in there. And then, when all the stuff kind of blew up, I mean, his resignation was 4 days before training camp started. So it was like right on the verge of training camp. They ended up, hiring Pascal Vincent, who has just recently, I believe, gotten back into the NHL as an assistant coach with Seattle. Good for him. But that season just never kind of got off the ground a little bit. They weren't terrible. In fact, I think Pascal Vincent, because Vincent really liked Babcock, got a chance to meet him or work with him in the summer because he was going to be part of the staff. And I think he tried implementing a lot of the stuff that they actually talked about strategically through that season. It was just, it was just kind of kneecaps that season before they could really get it off the ground.
The goaltenders that year were Merzlikins for 41 games, Tarasov 24, 13 for Spencer Martin, 9 for Jet Greaves, and 1 for Malcolm Subban. So the goaltending was shuffled around that year quite a bit.
Yeah, Tarasov was the one I was forgetting.
Yeah,
it was fun, and he was injured, I believe, to start the season. And so I think they had Spencer Martin up to start the year, if I remember that correctly. But it was basically Elvis. Like it was going to be, ride or die with Elvis, and let's try to make Elvis better because he's the highest paid and he had the longest term left.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting time here in Edmonton because the word we got was Cassidy was somebody who they were really interested in, and then there was check down to Laviolette. Cassidy still isn't hired. Laviolette obviously has a job. So Babcock didn't come out of the blue. The name was dropped early in the conversation, but as time went on, it became pretty obvious. And now with the NHL making the ruling, he's free to come to Edmonton and be the next head coach. While I've got you on the line, I wouldn't mind asking you a couple of questions about the Blue Jackets. Brian Hedger from Columbus Dispatch joining us. How active do you think the team will be here in the offseason as they try to improve?
Well, I mean, they definitely don't want to take any steps backward. That's one thing because the last 2 years they've come right on the verge of making the playoffs, which is the ultimate goal, or not the ultimate, but is like the first step, in what the ultimate goal is to try to get the cup here. And so they definitely don't want to take any steps back this year because you got Zach Werenski out there with 2 more years left on his deal, and they're going to need to try and, I look at this next year and a half or so is kind of a time for the Blue Jackets to put up or shut up a little bit. And as far as Zach, right? Because Zach's not getting any younger. He's not old by any means. But I think, by the time he comes up on his next contract, 30 years old, about 31, he's going to want to win. Like, he wants to win the Stanley Cup. You have to start thinking, I do that here. And it's on this Blue Jackets team, to kind of up and show, hey, Zach, we can win it here. Like, stay here and lead us to the cup. When we look at this offseason, I mean, they're in a bit of a tough one because they've got some RFAs who are going to be bigger priced, raises with Adam Fantilli. They've got to get a new deal for Colt Sillinger, and then Jet Greaves. He played so well last year. He is effectively their number one goalie right now. Played great in the World Championship, so he's due a pretty big pay raise as well. So they've got to kind of carve out room for that, while also leaving all this space down the road for Werenski. And you've got, when you look at the UFAs, Boone Jenner it does not have a contract yet. Mason Marchment does not have a contract yet. Eric Goodbranson does not have a contract yet. Like, they could lose all 3 of those guys. And on the one hand, you could say, well, those guys are kind of aging. They're on the wrong side of 30, this and that, injuries here and there, blah, blah, blah. That's great. You can say that. but you also have to replace them now. Like, and so, you know, I was told that the trade market right now sounds like everyone's looking for forwards. But you got 3 of them right here that you could sign, and they have not signed them yet. And it looks like they might lose those 2 forwards. They might lose Boone Jenner, which is kind of crazy to think about, you know, since he spent his whole career here. Personally, my gut feeling is they're probably going to lose Mason March.
No.
And that, you know what? And they spent some capital to get him. They essentially what they ended up doing was trading. It was in 2 different trades, but they basically traded Chinnikov to get Marchment, you know, because Chinnikov wanted out of here. And then basically there's a bunch of picks that kind of moved back and forth. But those were the 2 names that essentially kind of went in 2 different deals. But like if you lose Marchment now, whew, like now you have to replace these guys somehow. So when I talked to Don Waddell recently, I mean, he mentioned, hey, you know, Kent Johnson and Dmitry Voronkov had done it in the past. They both took big steps back last year. They need bounce backs this year. That's a tough one if you're going to be depending on that. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say they can't because we've seen them do it. But it's a little uncertain, right? Depending on someone who had, you know, a tough year last year.
What I notice about the Blue Jackets, I cheer for them because the Blue Jackets story is you know, there's been some, you know, tragedies, and there's been some, you know, some bad luck, and you know, there's been some bad moves made by managers too, but I think Columbus Blue Jackets fans are pretty loyal, and they have earned the right to cheer for their team deep into the playoffs based on their loyalty. You'd like to see that. But they remind me a little bit of the young Oilers around 2010 to 2013, in that they always have really good young players, but you know, Taylor Hall got traded before they really did anything. And that's kind of, you know, it's not just frustrating, but it's such a waste in terms of team building when you can't be infinibuild, and that's how it got around here. Is there a sense among some Columbus fans that they're kind of experiencing that right now?
Oh, there's very much a sense of that. I mean, I think it's beyond that. Like, you know, we're also talking about a community here, and you know, not every Blue Jackets fan is a diehard Buckeyes football fan, and vice versa. But there is a pretty big amount of crossover here. And when you're talking about college football and the Buckeyes, like, they're in it every single year. They're like the top Stanley Cup contender every year for college football. And so when you've got this hockey team across town and they continually stumble, stub their toe, have bad luck, star-crossed, whatever you want to call it, it wears on a certain segment of the fan base. Not everybody, but a certain segment is just kind of like, are they ever going to get this together? And so there is, I know there's a sizable contingent that feels exactly like you did, like you said, and how you put it, that it's kind of like infinite rebuild, you know, and they don't want that. So, you know, to me, what feels even worse is, like, let's say they trade Kent Johnson at, like, you know, not, and don't get enough like this off season, or Voronkov or something like that, and then they go somewhere else and they blow up. That's going to hurt even worse than, you know, giving them a shot to do it here. So I understand the, you know, Don having the steady hand there and just saying, hey, these guys are our guys, they're young guys, and they got to do it. But I feel like they might need to still kind of maybe look at the trade market or also the UFAs and just see who are out there. If they lose Marchment, if they lose Jenner, just to kind of, you know, bolster their top 9.
Thanks so much for this. I really appreciate your time. Have a great one, and we'll look forward to the fall and you know, the regular season beginning. And I guess we have the draft and a few free agents, not many, to look forward to here in July 1.
Yeah, enjoy and anytime, and get going on that video with Babs and the and the disco dancing. It'll be fantastic.
I love it. It's a beauty. Thanks, man.
All right, we'll see you.
There you go. Brian Hedger, our headliner of the day. Could you do that? Could you put Babcock's head on John Travolta dancing in Saturday Night Fever?
I mean, like, I probably could.
But
it would take me a minute to figure it out.
Here's
but
the
I
other
could do it.
I don't want to speak for Josh, but I think we're both pretty anti-AI guys.
Oh, yeah.
So
I would do it physically.
There we go.
I would learn how to do it.
Ethically.
Ethically.
Yeah.
So more time and more work, however, it would get done.
I don't. Somebody has texted in. Are you following this story about the statements made from 780? I'm not going to address that right now. It's too involved for a radio show. This we can deal with.
Take that back to newspapers.
Yeah. We don't have the attention span to read that many sentences. 1440 has gone woke. Edmonton media and media around are too soft. When the Oilers win the cup with Babs, everyone will be eating their words. Can't wait to see it. Curtis Hare. That's been expressed by a few people here today, and I wanted to address that. Look, in life, the
woke mind virus has got us, Lowetide.
In life, you have an opportunity. You don't have to take it to express your opinion on things. We're a sports station, and I certainly did, and everybody I think at this radio station did express how we felt about the idea of Mike Babcock being hired. And I think it's important to do that, to stand up and be counted. And it doesn't matter what the subject is. That's kind of our job. You don't have to agree with it. You can mock us. You can text us as you did, and you were respectful. That's fine. But the hiring of Mike Babcock doesn't change at all the reasons why we talked about it in a certain way beforehand. And it's important. We are talking about it now. And if he wins the Stanley Cup, that's something we'll talk about. But the genesis of the conversation that we had remains. It doesn't go anywhere. We just don't bring it up because the pressure point, as in, is he free to coach, is no longer valid. So, I think maybe I'm wrong. Do you guys want to talk about that part of the Babcock issue again? I don't. I'm done with it. I've talked about it for ages.
I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Right.
The horse is long dead. Like kicking a dead horse, like its ribs are broken, man.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll move on and talk about what the team might look like, which we have done today. And if they win the Stanley Cup, we will report that heartily. But it doesn't change the issues that caused us to converse about it for so long. I hope that makes sense to you. Sometimes I think that people do victory laps for the strangest reasons, and that may have been the case here. All right, we have Declan CFL coming up at 1:40. More of your comments straight ahead as well on Mike Babcock's hiring, which is imminent, about what the team might look like. World Cup, the Jays are winning. Of course, they're playing Boston, which is like a minor league team in terms of bats. But we'll talk about that and more. Anything you like. Give us a text right now at 833-401-1440, and we'll be back in the hack talking about it in two shakes of a lamb's tail. Lowdown with Lowetide, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick.
When your project can't afford downtime, call Japa Equipment Rentals. From excavators and wheel loaders to compaction equipment, Japa has the machines you need. Trusted since 1972. Visit JapaEquipment.com or stop by our Edmonton or Calgary locations.
You don't just need property services, you need problems handled. HireGood provides cleanup, debris removal, site monitoring, and safety attendance across Edmonton. We reduce issues on your property, keep spaces safe, and take pressure off your team. We resolve real problems for businesses while creating real impact, because our team is built on second chances, and they show up every day ready to prove it. Visit hiregood.ca or call and mention Jason Krueger for a first-time discount. HireGood. Stable jobs create stable lives.
I'm good to go. With Mortgages to Go, you'll be good to go. Mortgagestogo.ca says yes when the banks say no. That's why Alberta has trusted Mortgages to Go for over 23 years. If you need cash and have equity in your home, you're approved instantly, guaranteed. Call 1-888-888-5998. That's 1-888-888-5998. With Mortgages to Go, you'll say, I'm good to go.
Mr. Rooter buries evidence in the desert.
I didn't mean to do it. I was forced into it. Yeah, forced. But now, no one will ever know.
You've done well, Mr. Reuter. You did something awful, but you've covered your tracks. It's done. The last transcript that shows I did a semester of electrician school.
Uncover evidence of the proudest plumber, Mr. Reuter.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection? Incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit FountainTire.com today.
You've hauled lumber down rocky trails to build an off-grid cabin. But today, that powerful turbocharged engine just needs to bring home a new dollhouse. Toyota Tacoma. Reliable power for important deliveries. It's time to Toyota. Lease a 2026 Tacoma 4x4 double cab SR5 from $110 weekly for 60 months at 5.69% APR with $7,099 down. Hybrid available. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer today.
Wendy's 99-cent Frosty is back, and Frosty farmers couldn't be happier. Made with Canadian dairy, they grow up cool, creamy, and mighty thick. It's farm to Frosty. Get a small 99-cent Frosty until August 2nd at participating Wendy's. Taxes extra.
Get ready, outdoor enthusiasts, for the Kalmar Gun Show. Head to the Kalmar Hockey Arena Friday 3 till 8, Saturday 10 till 6, Sunday 10 till 3 for the premier event to buy, sell, and trade the best in hunting and sporting gear. Visit huntmaniashows.com.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Them out at wolfgmcbuick.com. You know, it's funny. You go a long time without talking to analytics legends, and then you have 2 in 2 days. We had Dennis King on the radio yesterday, and today, I mean, unbeknownst to me, legendary analytics fellow Matt Fenwick comes flying by here, saying, Fenwick, and I'm like, the Fenwick is good here, and had a nice chat with him. Your dad was here. The last time he and I saw each other, he was buying me lunch. Happens a lot when you're in media. People buy you lunch.
Well, you sort of need that charity. He does the same thing for me.
Yeah. But it was nice talking to him. A good guy.
Yeah. He had texted me during Fantasy Frenzy, I think, saying that he had a free afternoon. Is it okay if he comes and swings by the mall to say hi? I was like, oh, absolutely. And then intentionally didn't tell you just to see when he came. And then, of course, it's right when we get on with Brian Hedger. So you can't peer pressure him while you're on air to get on
the air.
Which he wouldn't have done anyways. But you had a better fighting chance then.
It felt like your mom was more open to the idea.
Oh, she was definitely more willing.
Yeah, she was, the thing about if Matt got on the air with me, we just talk about fantasy baseball and why his team is catching up and about to pass me.
Well, it took you guys about 30 seconds to get there. And I will note for that conversation, they both were like, the injuries are piling up. I don't think you guys are staying in first and second much longer.
Oh, but we got a bit of a lead, so it'll be a few weeks. But right now, it is really bad. Julio's out for me, and so is Vinny. I know them all by their own name.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, you guys are good personal pals. You can call them by their first names.
Not really, but I imply that. All right, 126. This is Andre. We're reading his text. Good afternoon. Absolutely love your show. That's how we get to read your text, just so you know. Not sure. we know every single detail when it comes to Babcock and what he did. But do you think what he did was worse than what Carter Hart was part of? So if that was worse, then Babcock should not be able to have a second chance. But if it's not worse, then he should get a second chance from Andy. I really think that these are different issues. But I also think that you know, as upset as people may be, the Carter Hart and the other players involved went to trial, and the result was not guilty. So it becomes a matter of law. You know, Carter Hart and the other players were free to sign with NHL teams. Some did, some did not. Some may this summer. We don't know the future. The process was different because the situations were different with Mike Babcock. But the National Hockey League's rules dictate that because it's a coaching question, this is something that would be decided by the NHL, and it was. So the NHL looked at it from the framework of you know, it's not like a court of law, but it's, you know, can we keep this individual out of the league or out of, you know, being employed in the league? And the answer was no. So that's the only way in a society we have to deal with these things. And so I'll tell you when I knew, when almost every one of the connected mainstream media, except for Frank Saravalli, who I have a great deal of respect for, and I'm not in any way being critical of Frank, but Frank was like, I'm not sure this is going to happen. Pretty much everybody else was, yes, it is, and it's going to wrap up quickly. I think Nick Kiprio said exactly those things. So when it's 50-50, you can say, well, maybe this isn't going to happen. But I think we saw this for several days. And I just absolutely refuse to compare the two because they're different. And I one of the slippery slopes we get on in these situations is, well, this guy got away with this, so why? That's not how the law works, and I'm sure that's not how Gary Bettman worked through the process that he went through. And you can agree or disagree, but I was always taught in this society, you have to accept the judgment. Doesn't mean you like it. Doesn't mean you're in favor of it. Doesn't mean you can't speak out about it. But it is what it is, and I hope that helps, Andy. Except for Hyman, this is from Jacob. Who else on the current roster had any involvement with Babcock, pro, Olympic, or international hockey? Oh my! Honestly, that would be a good 3 hours of research. I'm using the word research. So I will say I don't know. It's a terrible answer, but Babcock coached quite a long time ago. So I would say Kasperi Kapanen comes to mind, along with Hyman, as you mentioned. But I like that's not a complete list, and if it is, it's just a fluke, because that would take a little bit of time to look at. All right. I don't know if I'll be able to cheer for the Oilers if they hire Babcock, but I probably will. There will be some serious judging on his first 30 games from Zap. Well, I think that most fans will take a few moments and ponder it and think about it. And then what happens in life with all of us, and it's not a criticism of any individual, summer comes, you got a holiday, the kids are probably either going to camp or swimming lessons or whatever they do. So you've got that involvement, and you got to buy groceries and barbecue and drink beer. And drinking beer is a long time summer activity for people. So the summer goes by, you forget about it, and then, oh my God, I forgot Mike Babcock's the coach. Well, let's see how this goes. My sense is, this is just me talking, my sense is Babcock will have a really good year in Edmonton with the Oilers. I think the goals against will go down. I think the goals for might stay the same. And that would mean, like last year at 5-on-5, the Oilers were about 15th in goals per 60. Not a great number, but they were 26th in goals against per 60. And that is a very poor number. You can't expect to win the Stanley Cup doing that. So they'll be more possession-oriented. They'll be more buttoned down. They'll be more in coverage. That's why I've mentioned before, but I think somebody like Vincent Desharnais may be somebody the Edmonton Oilers would be interested in targeting and bringing into the system, into the number 6 or 7 defenseman, penalty killer, that kind of thing. I think Mike Babcock will like veterans, but young players who are exceptional will get an opportunity. I think he'll use both goaltenders. I think you'll see some trades. I do. I just think there are players on the team who might not fit what they're trying to do. And we'll see how it goes. The story changes, but it doesn't go away. And someone like Mike Babcock at this point in their lives, I don't know that he's interested in a long-term, like a 7-year run. The Oilers probably need to have a coach who hangs around a long time. They've had not Vegas-type changeover, but they've had a lot in recent years. And so I think that my initial feeling about Babcock is there will be changes on the roster based on, we heard just a few minutes ago when we were in conversation with Brian Hedger from the Columbus Dispatch that Babcock, said, I'm not going to coach this team unless there's, 2 more veteran defensemen. I don't know that he would do that, but I think there will be changes. I think that's fair to say. We already kind of have an idea about Nurse. Although maybe that they've hired Babcock, it'll be different now. I don't think it will be, but you never know. So those things are all in play. I think the Oilers will have a really good year. I think one of the things that has been irritating to me is they're never ready at the beginning of the season. I think they'll be very ready, even with the few preseason games that they play. I think they'll be very ready for opening night. I think Josh made a good point earlier about Ike Howard.
That was Declan.
I mean, it's really incredible stuff.
One of the people who I am working with said it. It was Declan.
It was Declan.
Yeah.
We're not pulling your chain on this one.
I would like credit for not calling anybody Donovan on the show today.
No credit for that.
No credit whatsoever.
I think that is a few points for me.
Donovan's here once a week, right?
Well, is he?
We're here every day.
And the other thing I would say is, I feel like between the 3 of us, we all have pretty different styles of how we go about things. Like sometimes the points arrive at the same thing, but we go about them in such a different way that it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. My only reaction to all of that is, you personally are.
You're too woke, Declan.
30,
I am too woke.
35 years younger than I am. So
more than that.
I'm respectfully. Well, no, you're 29, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm 64.
Oh. All right.
So I think when you get here, you might be going, geez, I know what Lowetide was going through. I'm just saying, walk a mile in my shoes, as it were. Who cares if it really matters that much? Cancel your tickets. Don't go to games. Only way your opinion matters is if you're watching and stop going to games. I don't think that's true. I think that people say those sorts of things in moments like this because they're pushing back and for some reason they feel like they've won something. I don't view it like that. But having said that, I think somebody who is a season ticket holder or somebody who is a fan, it is an individual thing. Are you going to, change the way you fan? In your opinion, this is from Shutout 31. In your opinion, is the Babcock hiring a 1-year show-me deal or more long-term deal? That's a great question. I think it's going to be because there's a security thing, right? So it's probably going to be more than 1 year. But the nature of hockey today, What's the average coach last 2 years?
I actually have that number right here. Is in or out today. Give me 1 second. The average coach. Oh,
I think
no.
it's 2.5 years.
Yeah, it's 2.33 years or something like that.
Okay. All right. Well, then,
2.38 years as per yesterday when the Leafs hired Jim Hiller. The average tenure this going into this past season was 2.38 years.
Right. Steve Fetter says the only issue I had with 1440's analysis of Babs is I prefer someone to be able to defend themselves. Him being roasted, I think that's a little strong, daily, and him not being able to defend himself is a bad look. All I ask is you bring this some jam to him personally when he's inevitably hired. Don't be two-faced. And like Noodles said, he had no idea Babs got released from prison. Babs knows this is his last crack. So it could be an HR, in my opinion. I'm not really sure where you're going with that, Steve. But I will say this, that I think it's really hard to argue that this is his second chance or I think that the second chance was Columbus, right? So I'll push back on that. And the other thing in terms of Mike Babcock not having a chance to respond, well, he will get that opportunity at the media avail, and he will get that opportunity in the days to come. And just so you know, media being media and people being people, there's going to be a lot of eyes on Mike Babcock, and we'll see how that goes. And we'll see what, if this story goes away and is never heard from again, and Mike Babcock coaches for 5 years and wins 3 Stanleys and nobody says a word about anything that is going on outside the rink, then we have a really good story. And I don't believe anybody would be hoping for anything else. But asking us to cover a story that is in evidence and in front of us in a different way, I think is I think that's not really what we do. We cover stories because they are of interest. People are interested in Mike Babcock, and now interested in Mike Babcock about to be the Edmonton Oilers coach. I hope that helps. All right. On the way, Declinations. We're talking Declan CFL. Big weekend game for the Elks straight ahead. And we'll do that in about 3 minutes from right now. This is the Lowdown with Lowetide, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick.
Tee up at the 2020.
Poking it forward for Brandon Thomas Asante, who skips away from cornerback. Garner could be in business. The end. Garner find a way. Step through here, albeit wide. Held back in by Abdalov. Is he going to go in? Yes! What a moment! Uzbekistan at level! Uzbek Fazulins has set that small pocket of Uzbek fans into sheer pandemonium. And you can only imagine the scenes back in Tashkent. In Atlanta. And for South Africa, this has to go in. Macarena puts it in the corner. But still alive with this World Cup. 1-1.
include fertilizer, weed control, drought fighter, and more. Visit greendrop.com.
Ends Wednesday at Pet Value. Save $8 on select Performatrin Ultra Limited ingredients and grain-free dry dog food, and 15% on select Royal Canin dry cat food. Shop your local Pet Value and petvalue.ca.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Author, musical connoisseur, sports know-it-all. Yes, a man for all seasons.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
This is the Lowdown on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. Check them out, wolfgmcbuick.com. Kenneth says, nothing happened in Columbus. Au contraire. It was covered in all the newspapers. No, in all seriousness, there was a period of time there where I think it was, I said 80, I think 78 days or so that Mike Babcock was employed by the Columbus Blue Jackets and then relieved of his duties, and it was well covered at the time, and we have talked about it recently. It is time for Declinations, brought to you by the Edmonton Elks. The Edmonton Elks home opener, June 20th. It's going to be big. Lock in your tickets. GoElks.com/tickets. Saturday, baby. Looking forward to it. And with that, we hand it off to Declan and CFL.
Yeah, let's talk a little Elks. But before that, also just quickly, it's like, you think he just got hired by the team and then didn't coach a game for them, relieved before the season started because nothing happened? Like, you think that's just how that worked out?
That did strike me as being an unusual take.
Seems a little naive to me, but, whatever. Okay, let's talk a little CFL. Do you guys have any questions regarding the Elks? Let's throw it back your way for a second.
I do. I feel like this is...
What if I can't answer this question?
Okay. Like, I love the CFL, and I know what they're up against this weekend. I wish this game was happening in week 5 because I feel like they'd know a little more about their team and they would be a little more ready for it. Am I wrong in thinking that?
No, I love the take. Like, I've gone through the Elks' first 5 games of the schedule here, and I think 3-2 or 4-1 is very attainable. And I think it probably comes with a 1-1 split. Like the 4-1, if it works out that way, it would have to be a 1-1 split with BC and Montreal. And 4-1's a great start. But the thing is, like, if that one loss comes here to Montreal, which is a very good team, they have a quarterback who's 13-0 in the regular season. He's never lost. They just signed Mario Alford, who I know very well is a Saskatchewan fan, dynamic returner. He was taking punts today at practice from what I read. Like, this is a very, very good team. And the thing is, if you lose this game, I think people who know the CFL and understand the CFL will be like, you know what? That is a Grey Cup favorite team. That is a team that is pegged and poised to win the East Division this year. That is a team with a quarterback who's never lost in the regular season. That is a really good team. But I think some other people will look at it and be like, oh, same old Elks. You almost give that game away in Ottawa to a not great Ottawa team. They come back late. It's bad weather. It's kind of sloppy football. Justin Rankin, maybe if he doesn't have 196 all-purpose yards, what does the game look like? And then if they come in and lose this game, I think people will kind of be like, same old Elks. But I have a really, really tough time believing that's the case because this Montreal team is very good. Like, I'm still going to pick Edmonton to win the game just because I believe in what they've built, but make no bones about it. Like, this Montreal team now, Tyrese Beverett, who is probably the best linebacker or one of the best linebackers in the CFL. He is their all-pro. He didn't practice today from what I saw, so that's great to have him out. Because the other thing about a really good linebacker is it's very tough to take him out of the game if you're the Elks, especially a guy that like roams and kind of plays freely. If you're the Elks and you're playing a team with a really good edge rusher, like you're playing Matthew Betts in BC, you know what you do? You design up everything to the other side of the field. Runs or stretch plays to the other side of the field. You have quick slants and you have quick outs to the other side of the field. You take him out of the game that way. If you're playing a really elite defensive back, and which they actually are in KB Onento, so we'll use him as an example, you throw away from him. You know what you do? You put your worst receiver to help out the ratio out on the field side, which is where he plays. And you say, hey, buddy, just go run 9 routes and you're not going to get the ball because we're not throwing it at KB Onento and we're taking them out of the game. But with a linebacker and Tyrese Beverett, now he didn't practice today, so that's great news for the Elks. But my point being is that to take him, it's so much harder to take him out of the game, especially a guy who can drop into that middle zone freely, especially a guy who's always going to be there and run support. Like, he just finds ways to be involved in the game. So keys for the Elks, because that's kind of the natural next question. People have kind of, they've tweeted at me about this. They've commented on, Elks Nation videos and stuff like that. And they've said, I need to see more than just these 4 to 7 yard passes. I need to see the playbook get opened. And the reality is I think how this team finds success, Justin Rankin is a bell cow, and he has the ability to break some 60-yard runs and stuff. But what you probably more want to hang your hat on as an Elks fan is some 5 and 6 yard runs on first down. Set up 2nd and 5, set up 2nd and 4, things like that, and then run those crossing routes, run those 5 and outs, run those hitches. Like, there were a couple plays last game they dialed up where they had a 6 receiver set and they would run 6 hitches. It's a play like if you play Madden, it's a play that you'll see on there and you never choose because you're like, that's boring. But it is a very effective play. The Elks obviously found great success with it. It's not the most exciting thing in the world, but I think it's how this Elks team finds success. You got to stay on the field. You got to keep Davis Alexander off the field, obviously, by keeping your offense on the field. You got to wear down that defense, and you just need to control the time of possession. Because when you control the time of possession, now, obviously, once you get into the red zone as well, you can't be kicking 5 field goals the way they did last game. You got to be able to put it in the end zone. Hopefully I think it's going to rain as well, so weather may be a factor as well, but you need to convert in the red zone. But it's keeping Davis Alexander off the field, because some guys, Connor McDavid, LeBron James, Shohei Ohtani, like, some guys are just so good, they'll get theirs. I'm not saying Davis Alexander is one of those guys, but as a quarterback, which I think we've agreed is the most important position in team sports, he is going to get his. Like, you can game plan for him, you can do a lot, but he is that good that he is going to find success. You need to keep him off the field.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. And the impact players in the CFL, they're very, very, they loom large, right? And the Elks have one, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But these Alouettes are like, I think they're just, I'm not saying they're going to win the Grey Cup, but I bet they're in it.
Yeah, like, this is a tough game for the Elks. I'm not going to sugar. Like, Ottawa, that was a game, you should have won. If you're going to play Ottawa again in week 4 at home, that's a game you should win as well, or week 5 at home. Toronto, like, there are games you should win. This Als game is not one of them. They're not exactly a rival, so tape is always, and you only have 2 CFL weeks worth of football of tape, so things are going to be a little bit tougher in that respect. They're very well coached under Jason Moss. They have probably the 2nd best quarterback in the league, maybe 3rd best, depending how much credit you give Bo Levi Mitchell. Like, they're a very good team, and this game is going to prove, we're going to find out a lot about what this Elks team can be this season. Because I've said, like, do I think a Grey Cup is in their future this season? Probably not, but I think they can be a Western final team. Like, I don't know if they're going to host it. It kind of feels like BC's a little bit due, but I think they can certainly be in that game. But to see what they are, it starts today.
Yeah.
Or starts Saturday, excuse me. And hey, 2 p.m. Saturday, home opener. Check it out.
Love it. I haven't looked at the box score. I'm not watching the game. But the Jays were up 3-1 against the worst offensive baseball team I've seen in some time, the Bo Sox.
They give up back-to-back home runs to IKF, one of those.
And Durbin, who can't hit the ball out of the infield, gets the other one.
That's right.
Who was the pitcher for the Jays?
Well, today it was Savage was their starter, but I can see who gave up the 2 home runs.
I just hope it's not Hoffman. Just from the humanity point of view.
The game started at 11:35.
Yeah.
It is entirely possible Hoffman was on the mound at that very point in time. Chapman is in the game. Aroldis Chapman. 2 outs. Brandon Valenzuela on bait. At the plate. Golly G. Willikers bat, man. Oh no, it was Trey Savage that gave up the 2 home runs.
Oh wow! So he pitched deep.
He pitched 7 1/3.
Wow.
Gave up 4 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned runs, 6 punch outs. 66 strikes on 95 pitches. So he was having a day, and then it seems like things just fell off going into the 7th.
I don't know what to say about the Jays. I know they've got a lot of injuries, but it feels like all the the good luck and karma from a year ago has slapped back. And if I was in the bullpen, I would refuse to answer the phone when the manager calls.
Honestly, like you cannot lose the game where Vladimir Guerrero Jr. gets a home run.
Yeah. Wow.
You cannot lose that game because if they win this game somehow, if they pull this out, win it in extras, that would be huge for his confidence in his swing going forward, I think.
Yeah. All right. I was gonna say, is the music gonna come? But
I thought the music was playing, which is why I cut myself off.
Declan's walking away, so I'm thinking maybe. Okay.
Oh,
but to be fair, to Connor, I probably should have played it 20 seconds ago, but
Well, being fair to Connor, where does that get you?
He's kind of the boss, man. So pretty far.
By the way, I'm taking a couple of days off at the end of the month. You guys can celebrate now.
Are you actually?
Yeah.
Wow.
Honeymoon.
Well, we're taking a little time. We're
going to Waterton?
No, we're not going to Waterton.
I love it down there.
We're going
really? We couldn't tell by your sweater.
Out of province. Waterton is really nice. Have you been?
Yeah, I used to live in Lethbridge. We would go there, I don't know, 4 times a summer.
I know you kind of walk like the wind's been blowing on you. So
yeah,
you learned that in Lethbridge, I bet.
Windy spot of town, no doubt.
Canada and Qatar, 2 hours.
Yes, love it. Hey, thanks so much for tuning into the Lowdown. We really appreciate it. Jason Krueger on the way. Mike Babcock, hiring imminent. I suspect the media avail will be early next week, but you never know. And Jason will have the latest details, and he'll tell you what he thinks about it. Mike Babcock, 19th coach in Oilers NHL history. Krueger straight ahead. Thanks so much for tuning in. Please enjoy your day.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Sean Cunningham of Remax Real Estate. For your next home, when you're buying or selling your next home in the Edmonton area, call or text Sean directly at 780-265-0165. That's 780-265-0165. News coming down from the sporting world and the NHL world is Mike Babcock, as you heard today on the show, has cleared in the NHL's investigation as the Oilers close in on him as their next head coach. Jonathan Toews is set to announce his retirement tomorrow after 16 NHL seasons, and multiple teams exploring trade options with Buffalo Sabres for defenseman Bowen Byram. Switzerland and Bosnia-Herzegovina tied 0-0 at halftime of their match. Czechia and South Africa finishing 1-1 earlier today, and Canada and Qatar will play at for Canada, minus 320 on the money line, and the over-under set at 2.5. Mexico and South Korea will be the late game at 7 o'clock. And in the MLB, in the middle of the ninth, the Jays lead the Red Sox 4-3. Guardians and Brewers tied 2-2 in their game, and the Twins lead the Rangers 6-0. Late game tonight in the MLB, we'll see the Angels and the Athletics. And, of course, we also have the Edmonton Riverhawks in action tonight as they take on Wenatchee with the 7:35 first pitch. I'm Declan Krueger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
It's 1440.